Unbeatable tips for developing financial self-control. Do you ever find yourself shopping at the supermarket or online, putting things in your cart that you know you shouldn't buy? In today's video, we'll talk about financial self-control and what you can do to avoid your shopping problems. Before continuing, dear viewers, if you appreciate the content of this video and are satisfied with it, we invite you to consider the option of subscribing to our channel or supporting us with a donation. Your support is essential for the growth and constant improvement of our channel, and it will allow us to continue producing high-quality content for you. You can do it here below, through the appropriate buttons, subscribe, and thanks. How to master financial moderation. A shiny leather jacket suddenly appeared in the lower left corner of the screen. It was beautiful. You tried to ignore it and concentrate on the spreadsheet in front of you. But the allure of the jacket was too strong, and you clicked on the image. This opened the Amazon website, where the jacket was being sold immediately for $100. You hovered the cursor over the Buy Now button, and after a moment of hesitation, you clicked it. But did you really need that jacket? And you're not alone. Many times a day, we tend to spend money on things we don't need. According to Invest.com, 54% of American shoppers spend more than $100 on impulse purchases, accounting for an impressive 40% of all online purchases. While it's exciting to click Buy on the latest shiny object that catches your attention with your credit card in hand, impulse purchases can heavily burden your wallet. And it's one of the most important financial habits that can prevent you from achieving your financial goals. Impulse purchases and other unhealthy financial habits have their roots in a lack of self-control. Being able to control spending means you've done at least 80% of the work needed to get your finances in order. But it's even more important if you're used to the easy pleasure of getting what you want when you want it. You hope to see the consequences of a lack of self-control. A spend here, a night out with friends there, an occasional dinner at a luxury restaurant, it all seems small at the time. But over time, they add up, and you wonder where your monthly paycheck went. You're not making much progress toward your goals, and you're probably in debt. You know you have a self-control problem, and the solution lies in good old-fashioned discipline. Without proper money management, you'll always be in trouble, whether your annual income is $20,000 or $500,000. Being consciously disciplined in spending is difficult. It requires many changes, but it's essential if you want to regain financial freedom. Here, you can learn strategies for dealing with a lack of self-discipline. The practical and basic tips listed here have helped me and many others develop discipline and regain control of our finances. You'll be glad you tried them. 1. Set goals. If you don't know where you're going, you'll surely get lost, and at worst, you'll find yourself in a severe situation. The first step to overcoming self-destructive lack of discipline is to set financial goals. The problem with setting financial goals is that most people 1. Find them too difficult, or 2. Have set them in the past but, for whatever reason, haven't pursued them. They then convince themselves that they don't need to worry about the goal because they probably won't achieve it anyway. However, it can be helpful to make the goal as simple as possible. Think of a goal that has economic value and make it your mantra. With this goal and a deadline, you can decide how much to set aside from your salary each month to reach your goal. It could be saving for a down payment on a house, paying for your children's college education, retirement, or a vacation. By choosing a goal that means a lot to you, you'll be able to find the willpower to avoid impulse spending and plan your finances better. 2. Question every purchase. Learn to ask yourself the toughest questions before every purchase. Do I need this to live? Can I do without it? If it's necessary for survival, are there cheaper options or alternatives? You should ask yourself this question for every item you put in your cart, for every purchase you're about to make, both online and offline. If this product is not essential for your survival, know that buying it will only delay your journey to financial freedom. If it's really necessary, find out if there are cheaper alternatives that offer the same benefits. This way, you'll get into the habit of thinking about the negative effects of reckless spending. You'll be able to say no to what's not suitable for your long-term goals. When you're able to say no to things that you would have bought quickly and without thinking before, your self-control will increase. Every time you're about to spend money, always ask yourself, is it necessary for my survival? If you do this consistently every time, like a muscle, it will help you develop self-control every time you think about it. 3. Create a budget. Unlike reckless spending, creating a budget is not a fascinating activity. However, if you need to control your finances and discipline yourself, a budget is absolutely necessary. The budget allows you to define your financial goals, determine what you need to achieve them, and set spending priorities accordingly. It will allow you to adjust your expenses and avoid inappropriate ones. Budgeting allows you to examine your spending habits. You'll realize the unnecessary expenses. For example, do you read all 30 magazines you pay a subscription for? Unless you're Mark Zuckerberg, you won't think that 15 gray shirts are too many. Taking stock will allow you to recalibrate your financial goals. Sure, you'll be momentarily angry because the latest iPhone or a nice Nike Air Force doesn't fit into your budget. But if you remember that you're delaying instant gratification for a worthy goal like a new home, retirement savings, or the vacation of your dreams, it'll be easier to pay the bill and leave stores empty-handed. 4. Keep a spending record. If you don't find a way to record your expenses and keep track of where your money is going, it won't be long before it feels like you're losing control. Making a budget and sticking to it are two very different things. By recording and tracking every penny that leaves your pockets, you can protect your budget like a blank sheet of paper. Fortunately, keeping track of expenses doesn't have to be complicated and time-consuming. On the one hand, you can use spreadsheets and old-fashioned ledgers, and on the other hand, there are several apps that make tracking expenses easy. Among these are YNAB, Quicken, and Mint. Whatever method you choose, the goal is the same. Record and categorize your expenses down to the penny, then review them to identify areas where you tend to overspend. When you examine the situation, you'll find that there are categories where you spend more than you think. Think carefully about the areas where you spend the most. There's room to cut back in these areas. In most cases, reducing or even eliminating spending altogether in these categories won't be a problem. 5. Don't use plastic when you pay with a credit or debit card. You're not handing over cash, and it doesn't feel like real money. After the transaction is complete, it becomes an abstraction in your mind, and you no longer feel like you've spent anything. This situation, fueled by a lack of self-control, is often a disaster. You go from swipe to swipe, and you don't realize how much you're spending until you notice that the minimum credit card payment is quite high. As a result, debt grows, it takes years to pay it off, and financial planning stalls. On the other hand, if you pay in cash, you feel the hard-earned money slipping through your fingers, and you don't want to let it go. Try shopping only in cash for a while without giving up your credit card. I guarantee you'll notice the difference. Cash makes it easier to manage your budget. If you run out of cash for a purchase, don't spend more on that purchase. Find a way to make ends meet and use this experience to spend more carefully in the future. Avoid using credit cards until you get used to it and control your desire to spend. 6. Avoid temptations. You need to know your temptations and avoid places where you might spend money on things you don't need. Among these are shopping malls, online sites like Amazon, and outings with friends on Friday nights. Unsubscribe from retailer emails and avoid shopping sites when browsing the internet. By avoiding places that make you want to spend, you won't have to fight the urge to spend and can spend more on yourself. In conclusion, it's human nature to desire immediate gratification of our desires. Long-term satisfaction is harder to choose, but it's always the better option. Financial self-control is a superpower to acquire to always choose long-term gain over short-term gratification. We would like to know about your experience regarding the topic covered today. Share it with us in the comments and, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask them. We will gladly respond. Your like would be a source of satisfaction for us, and of course, do not forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming publications.